Ever wondered how a simple cup of tea could ignite a revolution? Let's travel back to the 1770s, a time when the American colonies were simmering with discontent. The British government, deep in debt from the 7 Years' War, decided the American colonists should help foot the bill. They imposed a series of taxes, but the one that really got people mad was the tax on tea. Now, Americans loved their tea. It was a daily ritual, but they loved their rights even more. They believed in no taxation without representation, meaning they shouldn't be taxed by a British Parliament where they had no elected representatives. The Tea Act of 1773 was the final straw. It wasn't a new tax, but it gave the struggling British East India Company a monopoly on the American tea trade, undercutting local merchants, even smugglers. Protests erupted in cities like Philadelphia and New York, where ships carrying the taxed tea were forced to turn back. But in Boston, the royal governor, Thomas Hutchinson, was determined to see the tea unloaded and the tax paid. He refused to let the ships leave the harbor. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation. On the cold, dark night of December 16, 1773, a group of colonists, known as the Sons of Liberty, decided to take matters into their own hands. Disguised as Mohawk Indians to conceal their identities, they boarded 3 British ships docked at Griffin's Wharf: the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver. The event, which we now call the Boston Tea Party, was an audacious act of defiance. They didn't steal the tea or harm the crew. They destroyed property to make a powerful political statement. This act of protest sent shockwaves across the Atlantic. King George III and Parliament were furious. They responded not with negotiation but with punishment, passing a series of harsh laws known as the Intolerable Acts. These acts closed Boston Harbor, restricted town meetings, and gave more power to the British-appointed governor. But instead of crushing the colonists' spirit, these punitive measures backfired spectacularly. They united the colonies against a common enemy. The other colonies rallied to support Massachusetts, sending supplies and forming the First Continental Congress to coordinate a response. The Boston Tea Party had turned a dispute over taxes into an irreversible march toward independence. It showed that Americans were willing to risk everything for their liberty. From that splash in the harbor grew the tidal wave of the American Revolution, forever changing the course of history.